Hey guys, so I'm Lynn Marshall and I'm so excited. I want to welcome you into my home because I have a special guest that came to see me. This person I have known their entire life. They are a singer, songwriter, and a therapist. I'm talking about none other than my younger sister, Amberlyn Simmons Smith.
Thank you.
All right, so guys, we have our conference coming up, AML, aka A Mother's Lesson. And so I thought it would be super cool if my sister and I, we just kind of chatted up and talked a little bit about some of the lessons that basically we learned growing up. Now, we are 8 years apart, so it's possible that some of the things that my mom taught me may be a little bit different or maybe perhaps came across the way when she was kind of coming up. So I figured we can make this a little bit fun. We have some Uno cards here, and whoever actually has the highest number will basically address that particular topic. So ready? All right, here we go. Let's flip. Lesson 1, the identity crisis. So growing up, I know that I remember being like a teenager and mom set me down and she went through the whole, I guess, just rundown of the birds and bees. She put everything, when that cycle was about to come on, all those things. We had the personal conversations, we had social conversations, all of that to prepare basically me and Tony, for things to come. So I think what she was doing was trying to prepare me for any type of identity crisis that perhaps I would face in my adolescent years and maybe in my young adult years. Since we're 8 years apart, I don't know, because I was in college by the time that, you were a teenager.
Yeah.
But did mom ever address the idea of the identity crisis as far as maybe something that you would perhaps coming to or something that she foresaw? How did that conversation go for you?
Well, when I was younger, mom was a lot more feistier.
Okay.
She walked into her identity. So she was way more feistier when you all were growing up. She was meek and mild. By the time I grew up, she was not. And so, and I was also I was very in my shell a lot. So I was more of an observer than someone who asked questions. And anytime she wanted to bring something up, I would get too embarrassed to carry on the conversation. So a lot of things I learned from her was by watching and observing. And so even when I did hit that bump in the road in my identity crisis, I watched her. And I watched her actions and how she overcame hers. And a lot of times I feel like that's what a lot of people do.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I had to talk, and you pretty much had to walk. You observed the walk.
Yeah, yes. I was too embarrassed to have the talk.
I got you. I got you. All right, so let's flip again real quick. Here we go. Ready? Lesson 2, marriage and money.
This I actually, well, no, I take that back. I have had a run-in with this. I was going to say I haven't.
Okay.
My husband and I have been married going on 10 years next year. And we've always shared money. Either when we were dating, we shared money. Because we started from the bottom, now we're here. And so, but I remember when our oldest daughter was born, he had to open up a joint account, but without me. And so what was supposed to be a joint account ended up being his account, and he was making the most money. And so all the money was going to that account. And before then, we had no issues with money in our marriage. He is the spender. I am the saver. I am the plan maker, and he is the go-getter. But with him having all the money, there was no saving. There was no conversation, and it was rough.
So what was the lesson you feel like that maybe mom gave you in advance or that you learned in advance in preparation for that?
Yeah, share everything.
Share everything.
Yeah, share your discomfort, share your insecurity, share your fears, because really that's the root of money. It's the fear of not just being without, but being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So sharing that, putting it on the table, we said, okay, well, let's get a joint account.
It's because mom, I remember she would always say, bring something to the table. And so I remember transitioning from Georgia, coming to Florida, and I had my little money that I had saved. But when I first came here to Florida, I didn't have a job. It was starting fresh from everything. It was new ministry. It was new, church. It was new employment opportunities, career, and essentially moved from education to the public health sector. But it was daunting at first because it's one thing to hear it, but it's another thing that when you actually experience it. So I did get the talk of share everything, but I think I had so much in my mind, I got to bring something to the table. So in the time when I wasn't working, I felt like I wasn't bringing anything to the table. And I think one of the most powerful things that mom basically conveyed to us, I feel like just over the years, but it's something when you come into it, is knowing that you're enough and understanding that you are enough outside the identity of what you do, but who you are. And I had to actually walk through that and live that before I, got to that place of now getting into a career and getting this degree. And now, moving into this position of ministry, I had to learn. And I actually learned that through therapy because, of course, mom's a therapist. So, of course, I didn't go to her for therapy at the time. It's recommended you go to someone outside of your family, in which my sister, of course, is a therapist too, y'all. But I think it was advantageous for me to come into that identity to say, I'm enough. I'm enough in just who I am and not who I am as a mother, not who I am as an employee or a pastor or a doctor, but just who I am in general. Yeah, so. All right, we got 2 more, so let's go ahead and turn them over. We'll flip again. We'll mix them up. It's only 2 cards, y'all. I'm sure we'll mix them up. All right, ready? Let's flip. Lesson 3. How you start is how you finish.
Oftentimes, well, 2 areas academically, having my master's, and then also in my relationships. It can be you go through such turbulence in both areas that you have moments of weakness in the sense of you feel like, I'm not going to be able to finish strong. And she really taught me to have tunnel vision in finishing the race and not allowing the race to finish me. And so when it came to academics, it was, okay, you need a pocket to breathe. Breathe. Okay, now keep on running.
Yeah.
Keep in hindsight, what is the goal? What is the mark? And then even in marriage, you had those seasons where you may not be on the same page, or those seasons where both of you are going through a spiritual growth and there's some contractions and you're both feeling it and you don't know what it is. You can't put your finger on it, but you know something is changing. Is finishing the race. And that really it boils down to consistency. Yeah, I'm consistent throughout the race.
Yes, listen, growing up as PKs, you have to be consistent because you don't have a choice. Like when it comes to your attitude, it's like Dad would always say, live ready. If you live ready, you don't have to get ready. So I think, yes, consistency is a narrative that I think that we learn regardless of, how we came up or the time that we came up in our upbringing, because it contributes to character. And I think it also contributes to just the strength and identity of who we are as women, and just how we're evolving even as mothers.
Yeah.
All right, ready for our last one? Here we go. Lesson 4. A mother mothering mothers.
This is actually a twofold thing. Because I was not as close to my mother growing up because I was a person who was very shy, very introverted. And so I just did not have the conversations. I observed and I listened. And what I observed and what I heard, I pivoted based upon that. But as I got older, especially when I moved out of the house, I started to have a little bit more freedom. And I began to call more and allow her to mother me. And then when I became a mother myself, all the more I began to share more. And now it's like my best friend.
Yeah.
But I find that now I'm kind of pivoting, being early in ministry and having youth under me. I feel like stepping into a realm of pivoting to being a mother to others. And it's strange and it's weird, but there are those older than me who have been mothers,
right?
But they're calling me and asking me for advice. And I think I truly believe it's from our foundation.
Yeah.
Our mother raised us to be a mother before we knew we would be one.
Yeah, I could see that. I could totally see that. I feel like too, something about when you become a mother yourself, you understand why she did what she did, said what she said, and even omitted what she omitted.
Yeah.
It's like when you come into that role. And I think too, when a mother mothers a mother, she mothers you differently. So the way I feel like the mom handled us as children or adolescents is different. It is a respect, it's a friendship, but at the same time, I feel like mom to me has always been like a mentor. I have this idea that my mother, my mentor. And so I think too, it helps me understand everything that she said. I didn't get it at the time, but I'm finding myself saying the same thing to L'Oreal and Jalen. I'm finding myself uh, doing some of the same similar things. But I think because of the example that she set, and then I think the perfect thing that I love about mom is that she conveyed that she was imperfect.
Yeah.
She was one who would say, "This is what I went through when I was in college. This is what I fell prey to. This is the thing that I overcame." She had those conversations ahead of time to be able to help us prevent some roadblocks that she knew that were inevitable that we would possibly, come in contact with. And I appreciate that transparency. And I think that helps me mother my girls, even though they're not teenagers, they're little, but it helps me because she has served as that mom. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. Just being in this place that we are now, and even as we're evolving as moms. So, all right. So that wraps up our home visit. Thank you so very much for visiting with me, Am. I'm so glad you stopped by. I can't wait to see you again in just a few weeks. We're going to have an amazing time at A Mother's Lesson, January 23rd, 24th, and 25th. You do not want to miss it right here in Auburndale, Florida. Look forward to seeing you.
Bye.